Roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the German Masters here at the Tempodrome. Now, as we approach the last 8th stage, and we've got 4 people from England competing at the same time on 2 different tables, and we're going to be watching on table number 1 with Kyren Wilson against Shaun Murphy, the battle of the top seeded players. The world number 7 up against the world number 2, the former winner here of course, Kyren Wilson, last year. Up against the man in form for the opening start of the season, not so much with the way the latest tournaments have gone, but now Murphy has got his sights on this red, although he hasn't really gone to plan for him. And he's going to send the cue ball right into the mix of reds there, so it's going to be a rather awkward start there for Shaun. He went for a really aggressive approach there, and as he missed the red by some margin, caught it on the way back for the cue ball, and in the end just forced the white into those reds. So we'll expect Kyren to head off to a good start now. And of course, we have already seen an incredible start to the first frame. And that was in a match of Zhang Anda against Barry Hawkins. And we all know what happened after the first mistake. It was brilliant, a break of 147 from that point. But now Wilson just having a look to see if he's going to have the ability to try and maybe get those reds in place straight away. Manages to get around those reds nicely for now. So I think he's going to try and make his way onto this break at the early start of it. And then maybe have slightly easier shots out of the way first until he's going to try and send the cue ball into the main bunch. Try and disturb those because, as I say, for now, he's got a couple of reds that he can try and work with, but they're going to be ending pretty soon for him. So he's got an angle right now to try and nudge the cue ball into a couple of those. Although it doesn't really give him a guaranteed option to play. And that was why I didn't actually think it was the best shot for him to choose. Because he still tried to force those reds in, but he was basically trying to land on any one of them that he was making into the open play. And as that wasn't the case, think he's got a very difficult cut into the left corner right now. And the red that he sent to the top part of the table has just about gone over the middle pocket. So he's having a look at another shot in the middle, in the opposite direction into the left part of the table here. But, I mean, it seems to be way too marginal. And, of course, it's not quite the brown that got Ziaugroni's win over John Higgins yesterday. This is going to be slightly more difficult to swerve around here, but I think Wilson has to try and take this risk. Although that being said, you know, Mark Cullen realised really well that sometimes one frame can change the entire match there against Shaun Murphy. Of course, the fluke, which got Murphy on that charge for a century break in the opening frame, in the end cost Allen any sort of chance to battle on his way to the quarter-final, as he lost with 5-0 being the score against him. Now then, Wilson attempts a little double, which was a half-hearted double, I have to say, because he wasn't really trying to get the cue perfectly on the black, and obviously didn't try to leave it in the zone where he was going to have reds available. So let's see what Murphy's going to do. Whether he's going to respond with a double, or try and maybe cut one of those reds into the middle. And in the end, the double wasn't there. The angle was too bad for him to try and go for the shot into the middle, so he just forces the cue ball nicely onto the black ball cushion and pushes one of those reds closer to the side cushion as well. And the good news for the pace of this frame is that I think Wilson is going to have the ability to try and force the cue ball onto the top part of the table, so we're not going to be stuck with the players trying to send the cue ball back and forwards away from their main pack of those reds. And it was a risky shot, though, that Kyren has attempted, I have to say, because he had a look at the red that he was always going to be leaving closer to the right middle, and he probably has decided that it wasn't worth to be too concerned about it. So Murphy will have to establish whether he agrees with that. So he can see the double, but it's not going to do the pace of the cue ball too nicely because as I say, that red next to the right middle is still very much a threat for him. So I think just try and take it away from the game, which is what Shaun is going to be doing. But slightly surprised with the way he's played the shot, just trying to roll those reds into each other. And I think he's left the top one to be potable into the right corner. So sloppy shot there from Murphy. And I think with his body language, you can clearly see that he's not going to be happy with this one. And as you can see on table 2, he's going to be Ali Carter against Stuart Bingham. So 2 men from England on 2 of those. But once again, it's not a perfect shot from Wilson, although he has played it with a good safety in mind, getting that cue ball super nicely onto the top part of it. And would have been lined up perfectly on the green. Had this red gone in, of course, with the same line where the cue ball was taking. In the end, that wasn't the case. And Murphy's going to go for another safety shot again. So, slow start, but, you know, Wilson will tell you all about it against, well, in his match against Young Anda, it was a slow start. He was trailing by 2 frames to 0. And in the end, he managed to win it and to make it 5 frames to 2. So 5 frames on the bounce, same as Shaun Murphy against Mark Cullen. And the Pistol admitting yesterday on social media that, you know, he could have played till next Christmas and he still wouldn't be able to get a frame away from the Magician. That's probably the best praise that you can hear from someone in the top 10 players of the world right now. As Kyren once again just reluctant to try and give any way to Shaun Murphy, but he's going to have to concede this point because once again going for that long shot. It looked like the red was going to be super close to the pocket, but in the end just drifts slightly wide and finishes all over the pocket here. So Murphy is going to have to, well, try and use this opportunity because the previous chance from Wilson was not quite as good because of the way the reds were positioned. Right now, Murphy has got a couple of those to try and make his way through. So for now, gets himself the first point. Still finds himself 15 points behind though. Plays the black, I should say, into the left corner. And surprisingly, straight away, trying to get the cue ball into the main bunch here, which Don't know whether that was the plan or he just underrolled the cue ball slightly. But that's going to be the case. And whether it was the plan or not, he's played the shot absolutely brilliantly. Getting a couple of those reds to go even deeper into the bunch, but ultimately getting himself a couple more options to play. Into the left corner or the right middle. Depends on which one of those options he actually goes for. For now, he's going to surely try and take care of the two reds close to the blue line, which I think is going to be very important for two reasons. First of all, of course, it's going to give him 12 points if he plays those two reds with the blue. And then he also is going to have a chance to try and have that path from the blue onto the main bunch cleared up. In case that's the way that he wants to try and spread the reds away from each other. For now, he just takes the ping nicely into the left corner right now. And once again, beautiful shot there from Murphy, because despite it being so low on the pace, allows the cue ball to have, well, to be very much in charge there for Shaun Murphy of the cue ball, and still leaves him with getting a couple of more reds into the open play. Just having a look now at the position that he finds himself with, because now he's got the pink out of the game. With that one going straight into the mix of the reds, and well, it might actually block the access to another red, which Murphy should have been more aware of, you have to say. But he should be able to just about get through to the red closest to the pink right now, which is still going to be an open play for him, as he's now going to put himself in front by 6 points, still 99 at the table as it stands. Play the cue ball off the side cushion and get the black into the left corner too. Plays the shot really nice, and though just about enough pace on the cue ball to allow himself to play this red into the right corner, but ultimately I think he's got the luxury to try and go for the blue here, which wasn't easy from the angle that he had previously. So 14 points advantage, underrun for the blue slightly, so maybe just suggesting that he's happy to try and run on that red, which I previously said was going to be covered up. So that's the shot that he's played. There goes 19 points clear, and this is going to be a very important shot now, because the reds are going to go all over the place. He needs to ensure he stays in control of the cue ball. He's playing it with topspin, which I have to say is a risky shot, but it's always going to work out if he gets it. And he was always going to be on the colour. Slightly unlucky there with the yellow spot being covered up, but right now he's played the shot to absolute perfection, getting the cue ball to run away from those reds. And surely it is going to be classified as a frame-winning shot there. So Murphy, once again, trying to get himself in that rhythm of losing as few frames as possible. He's done really well in the opening couple of rounds. Now, we can't really say that he had easy opposition there to try and reach to this last 8 stage. Of course, he had to play Mark Cullen, as I say, Julian Leclerc and Zach Zuetti from the qualifying matches. And the interesting thing is, sometimes you go from losing 1 frame to losing 2 in the next round, but he's actually gone the other way around. So he's lost 2 frames against Zach Zuetti. He's lost 1 frame against Julian Leclerc. And then he's lost none of those against Mark Cullen. So we also should watch out for that, because despite him playing some great snooker against... completely got the name out of my head. It'll come back to me. And, yeah, Wilson was playing against Jaganda, of course, as I say. He was playing some good snooker, but I think that slow start, if he comes away against someone like Shaun Murphy, which you can argue that Jaganda is still the top 20 player, but he's not quite as high a ranking player, and especially when it comes to the experience that Shaun Murphy has. And he says that he's not going to be afraid of Wilson, and he's come out here to play. He's got the break of 46 points to try and come with it. Now just having a close look to see if he's going to be able to try and send the blue into the left corner. And just rolls through it nicely, although I think he's misjudged the pace slightly on the cue ball. And played it with too much power in the end. Now just having a look to see if, well, I mean, it's a nasty shot there that he's lining himself up with to play, because, and he knows it, you can see it on his face expression, because, you know, not only it's not an easy cut there, but also he needs to stay in perfect control of the cue ball, which he hasn't. got the really good red into the right corner, but he's actually somehow managed to get the cue ball lower than the black ball. And that's going to make it really awkward for him to try and cut this one in. Is he going to be able to do it? Yes, he will. Brilliant shot. And once again, Murphy just has the ability to recover. And probably, apart from someone like Watchalong, comes into this match with being the most form when it comes to purely this tournament. Of course, you have to give another shout out to the former winner last year of Kyren Wilson. Barry Hawkins was in the game too, before his defeat to Zhang Anda. Of course, Barry's still not having the perfect season there after reaching the final of German Masters and the UK Championship last year. Still seems to struggle to try and repeat that form. Now, where's the cue ball going to finish? Is he going to be in the pocket? I don't think he will. And Murphy's going to be delighted about that one because he certainly lost control of the cue ball at that point of the shot, where he got a couple of reds on the way down the table, but it still should be more than calm enough for him to finish the frame off and make it a break of 65 points and counting. So could still see a century break, and we can talk about it as soon as the red disappears into the right corner, which he will right now. So 50 points advantage, 43 at the table, and yeah, Murphy can now try and focus on making it a century break here. And, well, just as I say that, he's put one of the reds, which was actually in the right position, even closer to the cushion. So, unless he finds a miraculous double, this is going to be just safety shot to play. Well, I mean, I don't really understand why, but Wilson is coming back to the table. So he's got 12 points to try and find. So 55 behind, 43 at the table. So, I mean, he needs to get the first red with the black, and he needs to do it ASAP. He just put the pink right next to the black, which I don't think is going to do anything good to his chances, but I just think it leaves Murphy with a chance to try and go for those long pots without risking anything, really. You know, if you put the red onto the cushion, that's a bonus, but even if you don't, I mean, Wilson needs a red with a black combination anyway, and then he needs 3 snookers to come with it. He was leaving the cue ball onto the left side cushion, so that's probably the thing that Wilson was expecting there. So you can see 55 points. I don't know why it's gone to 56 right now, but maybe just an expectance there for Shaun Murphy to try and pot this red. In the end, that wasn't the case, and Wilson is back for the time being to the table, so you know whether it'll work out for him to try and steal this frame. You never quite know. We've seen that with Ryan Day and Marco Fu. Beforehand, we've seen it with Gary Wilson and Joe Gillon there. When you come back to the table and you think like it is going to be purely to try and do something about it, and then before you know it, you get a free ball, you get a couple of foul shots, and then you really are on the charge to try and make it a comeback for you to be right back in the frame. For now, it's still 47 points. There's the difference. So he should be trying to get this red onto the cushion. And has he used the first shot well enough? I don't think he has. And the cue ball is going to see this red. So we'll play on for now. But it was the first year opportunity, which he doesn't really come to the game here. And I think it is actually going to be a fantastic chance for Murphy to try and hit this one full in the face from the way back of the cue ball. Gets a little bit lucky with the kiss on the green. And in the end, still just about not enough there for the cue ball to be behind the yellow. And yeah, Wilson, of course, is not longer interested in trying to pot those reds. He needs to make the most out of them. Now then, this red is going to be coming all the way to Murphy, and I think before you know it, it is going to be frame conceded. So I think Wilson's just not going to allow Murphy to try and go on another break. But yeah, seems to be struggling there, Wilson. Of course, it's never easy when you're trying to find snookers, but I have to say safety play has been way below average for now. He needs to make sure he's going to be able to step it up in the second frame. Because despite him being able to overcome that deficit of 2 frames to nil, It's not a real guarantee that he's going to be able to do it again, especially with that fine form of Shaun Murphy, dropping just one of the last 10 frames that he's played. Something that only Trump can try and match him out here because of his brilliant start to the German Masters. Of course, former winner here as well. And he needs to be trying to get this as a real rhythm builder there for him, because we've seen Kyren Wilson talk about that he needs the ranking points. Of course, he can understand why. And he actually gave the reason why, because the only 2 tournaments that he's won were invitational, despite them being 2 massive ones, the Masters of the Triple Crown and the Shanghai Masters right at the start of the season. He doesn't get any of those points for the World Ranking Tour, which of course you still want to keep to yourself, so that you are going to be the world number 2, or maybe, you know, with the way that Trump is looking to extend that drought, he's going to be even the world number 1, trying to pressurize on Trump. Very surprised there. So Murphy just saying that he's not happy with the cloth, as far as I could catch. And yeah, so the referee just saying that he's been like that for the entire Masters. And well, Murphy's saying that, no, I don't think he was for the last 2 days, certainly. So maybe just not happy with the way that the cue ball's been flowing. We've seen this table be really fast, to be fair, because, you know, Trump has mentioned it, because when he was coming through the opening couple of rounds, he said that usually he's been practicing on very slow tables, and this one was very fast, so it took some time for him to adjust. And then we've seen that bizarre shot from Ronnie, where he had the cue ball, which was about to stop U4 at the bulk line, and then it rolled all the way to the pocket. Commentator is saying that was purely to the fast pace of the table. And then Murphy once again, so have to keep an eye on that, whether there will be any sort of development on that point. Is there going to be something else to go with it? I'll have to wait and see. But it's an interesting comment there from Shaun, because he certainly strikes as one of the players that wouldn't really complain for no reason, especially when he managed to take the opening frame. And now leads Wilson by 1 frame to 0. Ali Carter is about to do the same. But by the way, the story of Ali Carter, if he comes his way into the semi-final, this is going to be one of the comebacks of the season, because, I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody really knew if he was going to be competing in this one, for all the withdrawals that he had recently. You know, for different reasons, of course, but same story as the Shanghai Masters, and somehow he managed to be the runner-up at that point. Now he's managed to beat Shoeseed, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Ricky Walden, and surely now leading 1 frame to 0 against Stuart Bingham. It's going to be really interesting to watch out for him too, because the winner of this match, of course, will be, well, slightly on the worst side of the draw. I don't know why he wouldn't open right now. So let me just try and do it one more time. There you go. So the winner of this match will play the winner of the Robertson derby. So they certainly will play either Neil Robertson or Jimmy Robertson, but which one of them we'll have to wait and see. And Ali Carter or Stuart Bingham will have to come across the world number 1 or the Wuhan Open champion of Xiao Guodong, after his brilliant win against John Higgins, being in charge of that match for the vast majority of it. And in the end, just being able to get over the line, making another 5-3 win in the tournament. Wilson then trying to see if he's going to be able to spread the reds out after the opening break-off shot by Murphy, coming really well there to him. There was a little gesture, which I'm not sure whether he was just trying to take this cue with him, or he was suggesting to the referee once again that the pace of the table wasn't quite as acceptable as he would have liked it to be. But for now, Murphy just trying to find another bit of inspiration there. He should be able to guide the cue ball past the black. He's also trying to attempt this long shot, which he has, but he's missed it. And where's the cue ball going to finish? It's not going to finish in a safe position, so Wilson should be on the attack mode right now. And the opening frame win for Murphy, just allow him to go for those shots in frame number 2, of course. And let's see, I mean, Wilson doesn't seem to be too eager on taking the red on, which is going to be the easiest pot. And checking in, guys. Rapture is back. Nice to see. And, well, yeah, very surprised there because he had a long shot available into the right corner. And despite that, he just chooses to try and get the cue ball to the top part of the table by playing a cross double cell. I mean, I say the opening frame has inspired Murphy to go for those long shots, but I wouldn't really say that it's a nice perspective from Wilson's point of view because of that. That's exactly what I was talking about. It's a brilliant long shot from Murphy, and we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen it with Xiaohui and Watchalong. We've seen it with Ali Carter and Ronnie O'Sullivan. Sometimes, when you try and be too safe and too passive, you're able to just give your opponent more and more chances. And Murphy is not going to be messing around with those. It's a brilliant shot that he's played. And once again, that long ball game. How's Kyren playing? So he's playing alright because he didn't really have to play a lot of those shots. So, yeah, I think it's been mostly Murphy's game for now. He's got the chance to try and roll the black in. Is he going to be on the red though? Ooh, I think it's going to be really close. And he's the one into the middle to go. And I'm not sure whether that actually is going to be the case. So, frame 2. It was a brilliant long shot though for Shaun Murphy at that point, but he certainly is not able to get through to that red. So, well, a bit lucky there from Kyren. And slightly sloppy shot there from Murphy because he didn't have to do a lot with the black. And all he had to do was to try and get the cue ball around the red. And despite that being the case, he managed to play straight into it. Hasn't worked out too well. And in the end, it's a brilliant shot from Kyren Wilson's point of view. He got the cue ball straight in behind the brown straight away there. And certainly playing well based off that shot. Brilliant there that he takes. Now just looking to make sure that Murphy is going to be able to find the way around it. I think he should be able to do it off the right side cushion at this stage, but I'm not going to say that there's not going to be anything left out there in case he doesn't play this shot perfectly onto the right side of the main pack. And ideally wants to try and hit it into the centre back as well. It's not the shot that he's played. And he's been really going bad on the pace there. So it's going to be 4 points given away to Kyren Wilson. And I'm not sure that Murphy has thought this shot through too well. And in the end, it is going to be Shaun Murphy to try and get back to his seat here. Because Wilson will certainly take the position from here. He's going to be trying to go for this red into the left middle. Whether he's going to be able to get it or not remains to be seen, but he needs to. And I think that's done him dirty. I think that one faded. You know, we've had complaints about the cloth before, and I don't really want to see that because that red seems to go straight to the pocket. And I think he has sort of just faded away there for him because he played it with little power. Yeah, I think that's unfair on Kyren. And I don't know if I'm picking on that because Murphy mentioned it before, but it's not a good look there. And Murphy's certainly playing this shot with a lot of power. And brilliant long shot there from Murphy. But I don't really think that it's going to be fair on Kyren. Because I think he's played this shot very well there. Massive well done to Murphy, by the way, for playing this wonderful shot into the green pocket. Because it's not like he wasn't leaving anything away to Kyren either. And now he's on the block here once again. Trying to play with a bit of backspin. As he managed to get a lot of enough of the traction there on the cube. I think he has. That's going to give him 16 points advantage. And once again, just having that ability to try and maybe run away with it. So far, we didn't really see massive comebacks. You know, I've seen an attempt of one of those from Ronnie, but came up short against Ali Carter in the end. Despite going from 3-0 down to 3 frames each. You know, Wilson had a comeback, as I say, against Janganda previously, but apart from that, none of their high-rated seeds have been able to pull one of those. As Murphy just plays the cue ball nicely into the part of the right middle. Stops right in time for him to be on the blue, but I mean, he's always going to be on the wrong side of the blue. So he needs to try and use the ball cushion to bring the cue ball back down the table. And snooker from Kyren. It was a good snooker that he's played there, to be fair. But that's not worked out too nicely for Murphy, though, because he clearly was trying to get past the blue ball spots, and he didn't. In the end, the blue is going to be in the way of the red, so yeah, you're going to have to try and get this double on, despite putting the cue ball closer to the ball cushion, which is going to compromise him anyway in terms of playing the colours. But you should be able to try and continue on the break, because he is for now setting up the pace to this match. Well, he's no longer now. It was a good effort, but he didn't quite get too close to making that double in. And because he played it with just about enough power, he was able to put the cue ball onto the ball cushion. The red has bounced away there, so it's not going to be an easy shot for Kyren to play, but it still should be the one that leaves him nicely into the chance here of being on the break himself. Let's see if that will be the case though. So having a good look at the low red either, because of it maybe just bringing the cue ball up the table, but he needs to be careful with those shots anyway. Let's have a look what he's got to offer. He should be making this one in. He's missed way too many. And brilliant shot there once again. So yeah, you just don't feel like with Kyren that he's going to keep on missing those shots. And it's a brilliant pace of the cue ball too. Now as he just tries to roll the shred in with pretty much no pace at all. The cue ball is going to stop just about in time. But with the way that you look at the table from the second time too, he's going to have to work really hard to try and make his way onto the next red here, because he's got the red, which I say Shaun Murphy has missed previously, but that one is right next to the brown spot. And the angle that he's got on the yellow and the green is going to force the cue ball the other way around here. So I think it's all about trying to make contact with the main bunch here. He's able to do so. Now, has he got the cannon? I don't think he's got the red though. He's played the shot probably about as well as he could have. But I think he probably got slightly unlucky with that one. So recklessness caused Ronnie's downfall. Well, Kyren should have made the saves there. Well, listen, I'm going to be critical of Ronnie all the time when he's not winning, but I don't think recklessness was the thing that caused him. Because at that point, he was sort of playing he was 4-3 down before he started playing reckless. So, and he wasn't playing well, so, you know, it worked for Carter at some point, so there was no reason why it wouldn't work for Ronnie O'Sullivan at that point. But Kyren has played another great shot, but once again, just not getting a good positional play on the brown. It was very close to it, and just about going to have the green in the way here, you would think. So it is going to be a difficult yellow, even more difficult for blue. I'm just trying to play a safety shot and get the cue ball back to the safe zone there. That's what Wilson is thinking about. Well, let's see. He's going to try and go for this blue into the left corner. Should be trying this shot on, but not necessarily in the situation that he's in right now, being 17 points behind. He's played 3 good shots before, but he can't keep on relying on his pot success game to try and get him out of trouble. I think what actually caused Ronnie to lose that match was pure Carter's brilliance, and you have to give him a massive shout out. Ever since recovering from that frame number 5 and 6, let's just finish after this blue goes in and out of the pocket, and he's got to go out. And, well, unlucky there from Kyren. Has he managed to get the cue ball close enough to the green? With the reaction that he's got, probably not. And, yeah, as I say, it was always going to be one shot too many at some point. It looks to have landed perfectly on the red, but was slightly too late. Right now, it is going to be Shaun Murphy to come back to the table, and if he's going to be able to see this red, he should be able to try and win the frame as well here. So for now, just having a glance at the lower part of the table here, as he gets the red into the yellow pocket. Now just having a bit of a look to see if he's going to have the opportunity to try and send the cue ball into the right part of the table, which is going to be slightly easier for him, as he takes the green, trying to find that perfect path for the cue ball to finish. And to one of those reds into the corner, as he's able to do right now. So just lands on the lower one. So he should have the ability to try and force it through onto the black, but even if he didn't, he had the pink and the blue available to him, because of the latter one being missed. Personally, I find Kyren more likeable than Murphy. Well, I mean, you're always going to have the preferences, but I don't actually care massively. I like both of them. You know, maybe just he's going to be a 52 to 48% in favour of Wilson, but as I said, I've got nothing against Murphy. And it's purely because sometimes, you know, Kyren is going to play to the crowd slightly more. And I think it's probably because he's broke onto the arena a lot later on than Murphy. And well, let's see if he's going to be able to try and remain on that pace in terms of him being the world number one in the future. Now just trying to continue the defense of the German Masters title that he had last year. And he seems to have another problem here on his way to the semi-final spot, because Shaun Murphy's playing really well. I mean, he can't say that he's played a bad shot so far in this match, apart from maybe a couple of loose long shots that he attempted, but Kyren hasn't been getting too much of a good luck before. Well, up until this point, I would say. Now let's see if Murphy is going to be able to put another chance behind him and put another frame between himself and his opponent. Playing another red into the right corner, so he shouldn't have any problems with those reds at all, because he's got two more after this black, which is going to put him 47 points clear, and he does right now. So he's got one right underneath the main pack of three reds, and then he's got one more closer to the right corner, pushed there by the previous shot of Wilson on the blue, which may still turn out to be his last shot that he's played. But, I mean, don't really agree with the way that Murphy has played this shot, and now he needs a cannon on those three reds, or so I thought, and in fact he's going to have the lowest one of those three reds possible into the left corner. And you can see what caused this break of 42 points and counting. By the way, it is going to be game done, because Murphy just spotted a frame ball for him, so 56 points now is going to be the advantage for Murphy. 51 on the remaining on the table as it stands, so ideally still wants to get the black in, and he does. So that's going to put 4 snookers required there for Kyren Wilson. As he now makes another break of 50 plus points, and still, I have to say, making that break of 16 points right at the start of the first frame has probably been the highlight of Wilson. He had a couple of good shots to try and get him underway in the second frame, but unable to do it with the blue. Taking the 4th difficult shot on the bounce at that time, and you can see that it hasn't worked out for him since then. Murphy has got a decent chance for a century break somehow, because despite it being very close, because of the way that he's played those reds with the black all the time, he should be able to get 2 or more of those. With well, he can afford to try and lose 1 point here on the maximum break that he can score. Let's see if he's going to try and force the cue ball into the red. He didn't have the angle, but also didn't have the need to do that. And 66 points that right now he scores. Should have the ability to try and get the cue ball in behind the pink. Slightly ahead of it. Don't think that he would have liked to see that touch. Slightly more of an angle now that he has to try and work with. And probably just certainly on the black here. Making it the easier shot to play, getting the cue ball still nicely to the top part of the table. And he should have the chance to try and stun the cue ball here for this yellow. Try and play it onto the green. Get himself lined up for an 89 points of an advantage here. But ultimately, maybe the first century of the match. You know, he's made certainly a lot of those. Still trying to chase down Mark Selby, which has been dropped out of the tournament to a very surprising, some would say, shock defeat to Shu Si out there. And, no, certainly I will say, a very shock defeat of 5 hours of the match. It started 7 o'clock here at the UK. Of course, would have been 8 o'clock at the Germany in Berlin. And he nearly finished well into midnight, so 5 hours since it started. Because I think the last frame has been played in pretty much an hour or so, because of Selby being desperate to try and find those snookers. Well, I think he required 2 or 3 of those in the end, but trying to do them on the blue, brown, pink and black. But now, if your focus is on Shaun Murphy, then he's certainly going to be enjoying this one, as he is now smiling to the crowd And receiving acknowledgement from them, he now leads Kyren Wilson by 2 frames to 0. And on the break of 101 points to try and make it a wrap to the first part of the first mini session. Now then, 2-0 advantage. Ali Carter and Stoke Bingham, by the way, sharing 1 frame each. Having a break of 72 points for Ali Carter in the opening encounter, and the break of 65 that Bingham managed to respond with. I think it was pretty much 50-50 in terms of who was going to win this match at the start of it, but right now, of course, with that 2-0 advantage that Murphy has got, he's going to be running away with it in terms of the odds right now. But Wilson has still got a chance on playing a frame or two before the start of the second mini session. And by that point, he needs to make sure he gets at least a frame on the board, and ideally, he needs 2 of those, because for him to avoid to try and be coming back from 3-1 down at the second mini session, which is going to put him in a bit of trouble. Kyren is in trouble. Well, he is, but I still would say that he's capable of doing it. As I say, that's what he's done against Jagande. He was playing pretty much ordinary, to say the least, and still managed to come back and win 5 frames on the bounce. Having some wonderful breaks to be made along the way. Right now, it's all going to be about trying to get that form to be restored. And let's see if he's going to have the ability to try and, well, maybe just get a bit of rhythm going for himself. You know, you can talk about the way that Murphy has played, but if Kyren makes that blue into the left corner, and it's going to be down to a millimetre or so, in my eyes, he's going to be able to win that frame, barring anything incredible to happen. As Carter now just going for the raid, trying to make it safe on table number 2. Of course, the unique way that you've got these 2 tables set up. 2 more of those, which are not going to be used for the remainder of the tournament. And I think since the evening session, we're going to be just down to a single table format. That's something that you would expect. The semi-finals being played on Saturday, and then the final, of course, consisting of 2 sessions. Once again, first to 10. You know, we're going to see another incredible final like last year of Barry Hawkins against Kyren Wilson. Is he going to be the same winner? Or maybe he's just going to be, well, someone else, obviously, but maybe even a different nation there. We still have the likes of Neil Robertson and Xiao to try and say something about that being an all-English showdown last year. And despite those 2 quarterfinals consisting of 4 English players, well, Kyren hasn't really played a good break-off shot once again, and I think there is going to be a way there for Murphy to try and get past the Brown, but as he takes a very quick look at that red, so he may not be able to do so, and if that's the case, he needs a good safety, or he's going to be in a bit of trouble himself, but he always seems to have the ability to try and just force the cue ball down the table and do something from that point. Anyone think comeback possible? Well, it is still, I'd say 3-0 is always the point for me to say that the comeback is not going to happen. And for now, I still think that I haven't seen anything of Kyren that makes me feel like he's not interested, or, you know, Murphy's playing world-class snooker. He's had 2 chances. He's managed to put all of them away. But would be perfectly honest with you, anyone on the top 32 of the World Snooker Tour should have been able to put those 2 chances away. But the thing about it, Wilson can't use that as an excuse. He needs to make sure he finds chances for himself. And to do that, he needs to try and win the 3rd frame. Try and find himself only 1 frame down. But I'm still very much confident that the chances are going to come for him. He just needs to be there when they do. So for now, just talk about that. Another good shot from Murphy's point of view, as he plays him with just about enough power for the cue ball to finish perfectly on the blackboard cushion. Should have the chance there, Wilson, trying to play red onto the top part of the table. So he decides to try and keep it there, which I have to say is a bit of a weird shot that he's played, because he's left a long shot available to Shaun Murphy, which we've seen him take on at the previous frame when he was leading by 1 frame to 0. Now he's got 2-0 advantage. And he's certainly going to go for it. You can see before he's gone down to hit the shot. Now then, is he going to be able to make it? Yes, he will. Brilliant shot once again there from Murphy. And, I mean, as much as I say, when he had his chances at the start of the second frame, he wasn't able to take it. And it was like 8 or 9 points that he scored. But he keeps putting on those long shots, which, you know, Wilson had one of his, to be fair, at the start of the second frame too. But he wasn't able to get on the colours from it. And Murphy just playing it well enough. He was leaving reds all over the table there. He was going to miss this red, but he clearly had no mindset. But he was indeed going to put that red wide. And in the end, just slightly awkward on the next red now that he has to play. With the rest shot, which is going to be quite a stretch there for him. So, because of the red being in the way of the hand that you normally want to try and put in, but obviously being in the way of the rest is, so may have to go for the other red for him to play. Has he worked out? He has, in terms of getting the red in, and he's still perfectly on the back. So, well, this is where the comeback is going to be slightly not possible there, because if Murphy is going to be able to continue this form, you could be looking at another 5-0 loss for Mark Cullen and now Kyren Wilson there, because Murphy's not going to be messing around, and if he plays some good snooker, and you're going to be on the receiving end of it, he might not last very long. So he plays the red nicely into the right corner, just a bit of a bounce away there from the white. Should have the ability to try and take the black into the left corner right now. So you just have a little look to see. Maybe the backspin there, played on the cue ball. Ooh, he's tried to make it into the mix of reds. Has he got one into the middle? That's his only hope to try and continue the break. I think he's on it because don't see any panic about it. Ooh, he's really close. I'm not sure he's on it now because of the replay that I've seen. Murphy's having a very good look at it. I think he's just about going to be able to get through past the other. Yeah, he's comfortably through. To be fair, the previous angle was slightly misleading there. He was comfortably able to get through. And pop the red into the middle. Well, now, I tell you what, if he's able to put this break to bed, then certainly not going to be looking at comeback from my point of view. I did say that this match I expected to be really close. I wanted to see another 5-3, maybe decider, but certainly not going to be the case. If Murphy's able to sustain the pace of the game that he's shown so far. I'd like to see total points scored there as well, because I think from Wilson's point of view, he scored like 9 in the previous frame. He scored 16 before that, so that's 25 from what I can remember. Maybe getting a couple of more reds on the way at the very much end part of the first frame, but it's not been good enough from his point of view in the shape of, you know, you've got Murphy taking pretty much every long shot that he takes on. At some point, you have to say, well, there's no point for me to try and sit back here and try and defend, because he's just able to turn a good safety from my point of view into a brilliant long pot from him. So I need to be taking on risks myself. Also hasn't done that so far. And that slight mistake before that brilliant long shot of Murphy seems to have cost him very dearly. Certainly has cost him 36 points. Whether it's going to cost him the frame in the end of it remains to be seen, as I say, but Wilson can't do anything about it now. Slightly too late, and he's certainly going to put him. And a 4 frame being the decider for him at that point. But pretty much any frame from that point onwards is going to be a decider, because if you go 4-2 down against someone like Shaun Murphy, it's going to be very difficult for him to try and turn that gap around. Once again, you can see the replay. Brilliant long shot there from Murphy, as he just guides that red into the right corner. So then playing the blue into the right middle too. Just about rolls that one in, because he was trying to take all the pace away from the cue ball. I'm not sure whether he was playing for the one onto the left middle or the left corner, but in the end it shouldn't matter too much. Should be able to go for either one of them again. So he's just probably going to be down to the next colour that he plays. Doesn't want to have too much of the cut. Well, he's judged this one well, because I thought he was going to try and avoid this one, but he clearly played into the pack of reds on purpose. The reason I said I'd like to see him avoid doing that because of the cue ball being so close to the middle, but he obviously just did well enough for the cue ball to be still going so close to the middle, but ultimately onto the side cushion, allowed them to finish on the top part of the blue, which gives him the upper hand on the next shot, trying to guide those reds into the left corner. And, well, as I say, that prediction of Wilson being the winner, and so far 54% have gone for Murphy, so it was a bit of a 50-50 at the start. I think it is going to be going into a favour of Shaun Murphy massively from this point onwards, as he now asks the referee to clean the white. He still has a chance. Is Ronnie playing Welsh Open or on Players' Championship? Do you know? So I was thinking about it because I was really happy for him to be announcing officially on his social media that he's going to be in Hong Kong next week against Joe Connor on Wednesday. But I don't know. I have to say, I don't expect him to be playing on either one of those two that you mentioned, really, because I want to see him at the World Open, which I know is going to be in China. Any chance for Wilson? Not now at this stage. Not certainly in this frame. Murphy's a couple of shots away from finishing this one off. And, yeah, on Welsh Open, I don't know which year was the last one that I've seen Ronnie compete at the Home Nation Series. Any rounds, you know. I think he played English Open against Shaun in the opening round. Lost 4-2 last year, but, I mean, it was pretty much the only tournament that he's played in the first part of the season there, barring Saudi tournaments and stuff. So, yeah, well. I think I want to see him at the Tour Championship. By the way, when you talked about any chance for Murphy, any chance for Wilson, there wasn't, but Murphy nearly gave him away. A chance and a half there because of the cue ball being so close to the corner pocket. I lost a lot and Wilson was last in my parlay to recover so well. Tough luck. As champions say, can't always win there, but yeah, I think Wilson has been struggling in the opening part of those matches, but certainly not going to be worth for him to be mentioning. Losing 3 on the bounce here. Murphy was close to making this black. Into the right corner. Any idea why Weezer and Cheng Min-yu gave all call? Yes, Peter, you asked that before, and I did a research. So Weezer was straightforward, and it makes sense because I think he was playing the Championship League a couple of days before, so it was purely illness. Nothing more spectacular than that, and in the end, for Cheng Min-yu, there was something spectacular. By the way, Murphy's on a roll. He got another brilliant red into the left corner. That's certainly going to put the frame to bed here. But Cheng Min-yu, incredibly, was saying that it is due to visa reasons, which I have to say, I questioned it at that time. Because how can you be a present player on the tour? I know he's a player from China, but surely you've got the likes of Zhao Xington, Xiao Guodong, Si Xiaowei, Ding Zhuwei, Li Beifan and many others, Wu Yize himself competing under the Chinese flag and still not facing issues like that. So I don't know whether he's got a lot of credibility to it, but he was saying that on one of the snookers reports there as well. So I don't know why they would write the stuff like that for no reason. So yeah, apparently Cheng Min-yu due to visa reasons, and then Wu Yize due to illness, or specifically put out for medical reasons. What is it first? So this one is first to 5. So Murphy's going to be 60% there as he now finishes the frame off. Wilson seems to be struggling massively here at this stage. And Murphy's playing real well in this tournament so far. Yes, as to say, you know, losing 3 frames to Zach Zuerti and Julian Leclerc. And then he's gone on defeat. I mean, 3 frames in total. He lost 1 to Leclerc and 2 to Zuerti. And then losing none to Mark Allen. And so far, in the opening 56 minutes of this match, he's lost 0 out of 3 there that he's played against Kyren Wilson too. So certainly 9 frames on the bounce. I don't know when he lost out the one against Leclerc. But yeah, certainly has been a while since Shaun Murphy has lost a frame here at the German Masters. And I think this is going to be, well, not personal, but Murphy clearly just wants to try and get back to the top of the game. And it is going to be the end there. So just 27 points there that he scores. But ultimately, it's still more than enough there for him to be leading Kyren Wilson by 3 frames to nil. Remember that the winner of this pair will play the Robertson. Which one remains to be seen. It's the derby of the same name there, Jimmy Robertson against Neil Robertson. And how to say, a massive dark horse before this tournament had started, Jimmy Robertson. But the way that he's managed to go on about the business, beating Jack Jones 5 frames to the bounce there, same as Kyren Wilson there. Had a really good performance in the last 16 match. And in the end, it could still be a real threat there to Neil. And of course, if you talk about the earlier rounds, he had to beat Mark Williams in the opening rounds of the main draw, which was really impressive. Despite Williams struggling massively for form, I think he was unable to make a break of 50 plus in any one of those frames. It still was a very impressive win there from Robertson's point of view. And yeah, you'll play either Shaun Murphy or Kyren Wilson. And in the end, the lower part of the draw is going to be Jotram Sealgadon will play the winner of Ali Carter against Stuart Bengham, which is still 1-1. And it's a battle for the third frame here. Carter seems to be on the break, so may be able to put another frame in between himself and his opponent. So for now, we need to see a return of the Wilson. Otherwise, it is going to be a 4-0 of a session there from Murphy's point of view. Still think it's very likely for now. Because, I said that the previous frames were really straightforward positions there from Wilson's point of view that he gave away to Murphy, but this one wasn't. Murphy was able to play really well, and the chance that he gave away to Kyren was at the point of the frame, where he had pretty much nothing to chase there. So Murphy just been really rock solid. I just want to see how many points in total after the opening 3 frames Wilson has got. So let's have a look. I know he scored none in the previous frame. Let's have a look. So he scored 24 points in the first frame, and then he scored 9 in the second frame. Well, 33 points in the opening 3 frames there, averaging 11 points per frame. And remember, he was the first player to score points there, getting that break of 16 points. So more than half of those points basically come from the first couple of minutes of this entire match there. And there's been 55 minutes of playing time ever since. Once again, a break off from Murphy, guiding the cue ball perfectly onto the ball cushion off the side on the left part of it. Brilliant shot there, as has been the performance from Murphy. And I have to say, at this stage, Wilson just has to go for it. He's got, well, clearly no intention of trying to hold back, but he's got nothing to try and lose here. And he's not going to win it by trying to sit back and play defensive snooker, because that's what he's tried. Murphy was clearly having none of that. And just finding a long shot after the long shot. So, still really reminds you the opening part of Ali Carter against Shaun Murphy. You can see the total points 33 from Wilson, 305 from Murphy's point of view. Highest break, you can see 16 and 101 there on the 2 players. Carter 2 is playing good. One of my picks for semis with Chomp. Well, obviously, because he only has 1 match to try and play. I don't know what on earth Wilson has tried there, but it may be another frame that he's given away. Yeah, it's clearly not happening there for Kyren. I think he was trying to land the cue ball onto the main pack of reds and misplayed it badly. And I think he's left the red out very clearly into the left corner. It's over for Wilson for sure. Well, it will be. It will be because, as I say, 3 love down. If you play some decent snooker, he's going to be in trouble. But if you play stuff like that, it's going to be a very quick match indeed. But for now, it's not over, of course. So you still have to try and put up a fight. But it's not really something that Wilson has been doing at the start of this frame. Up until this point, as I say. For now, though, let's focus on another, maybe masterclass there from the break of Shaun Murphy. So, yeah, as I say, it was a brilliant break-off that got Wilson into that thinking process. And in the end, he just tried to play safe. He's judged the power of the cue ball massively. And it's actually getting more and more difficult there from Murphy in terms of the way that we've gone from the first frame. And the second being so easy of a position for him to break through. The third one was quite difficult. And the fourth one basically has got 1 more red in open play, and then he needs to try and make it for himself there from that point. as he gets the second red into the left corner. So as I say, he's got one more after this one. And he's going to be trying to make his way through the remainder of the pack. 3-0 has not came over yet, but should be difficult with best of luck. Well, it is with the way, I think you should see the shot that he's played there. And you also should realise with the way how clinical Murphy has been. You know, he's made basically no mistakes at all when it comes to being on the break here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he makes one straight away, and he does. I mean, genuinely, I should be charging money when I do this because I've got an incredible power of a commentator's curse. He hasn't made a mistake on the break, and as soon as I say that, he makes a mistake on the red, gives the turn back to Wilson. Has he given a red away, though? So that is going to be a prediction of the century, if you're going to call this one right. I mean, it's a good shot that Wilson manages to get this red in, but as I say, it's still going to be a real test for him to try and make it through this position here. We need the drama, we do. Especially the neutral camp. I don't think the Murphy camp will agree with you on that one, but fans of Kyren Wilson certainly will. Well, I mean, this could be a bit of a starting point there, because, as I say, an absolute carbon copy of the match. Ali Carter against Ronnie O'Sullivan, very similar to the one of Shu Si against Mark Selby. Of course, Shaun Murphy shouldn't be compared with Ali Carter and Shu Si with the way that he's played this season so far. But just purely for him being slight underdog, and in the case of Shu Si, a massive underdog against the world champion of Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Selby. Now, we've seen both Ronnie and Selby have a fantastic clearance right at the end of the first session. That in the end inspired a comeback for both of them with different outcome. Of course, Selby managed to force the decider and fall short, and in the end, Sullivan fell short a frame before that. But Ronnie made a break of 93 points at this stage after a mistake from Carter's point of view. So let's see if Wilson is going to be able to try and replicate that to an extent. Get himself into a frame win, because with the way that he's got those reds in, because all of that came from the shot of Shaun Murphy there. He was trying to get all of those reds to spread out so that he would have a stroll all the way to that 4-0 win. But in the end, just probably taking too much of a difficulty shot on. And 4 points right now that he's got available in terms of the advantage over Shaun Murphy. And these gaps should be getting bigger and bigger there for him. Already manages to make the highest break of the match here so far. So 5 points advantage, as I say. And he should be trying to get those reds below the pink to all disappear into the pockets. And of course, any sequence or any order. But if he gets all of them in, he's going to have 3 reds on the cushion to be left out. And that should be more than enough for Wilson to be coming through these 4th red. And as I said, there were always going to be chances, but you can't really rely on them all the time, because despite Wilson not doing a lot wrong there, apart from maybe missing that blue in the second frame, he's still going to be 3-1 down at best by the end of the 4th frame. And now just looking at this miss from Murphy, well, it was quite difficult red that he was taking on, but you have to say it was one of those shots that he was happy to basically say, I'm either going to win the frame in a very simple fashion, or I'm going to be losing it and giving away a chance to my opponent, because he had two options to be aware of. He could have misjudged the cannon on the black, and the positional shot on the black, I should say, or just missed the red, as he has. Wilson just another good positional skill there, getting the reds to be as far away from each other as possible. So he should still be looking at the break of something like 65 points, which I mean, shouldn't actually get him over the line at this stage, but as he gets another blue in, yeah, he may be able to just leave those 3 reds on the cushion, and at that point, get himself a sort of 60 points advantage there. Murphy bit Wilson not too long ago. Yeah, but I mean, I think you're talking about the China Grand Prix. It was a good performance there from Shaun, but he was probably in the form of his life, certainly in the form of that season, because he's just won the British Open. He was the runner-up to Mark Williams, at the very one-sided final. So that probably was the highlight of the season so far there from Murphy's point of view. So he still needs to make sure he doesn't let this frame get in his head too much, and he should come back fresh after that 15 minutes intermission. If he's unable to return to the table, as I say, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice, especially with me wanting to see slightly more of this matchup. And that will require Wilson to try and steal a couple of frames there from Murphy. So 41 points now is the advantage. So if he gets this pink in, that's 47 points. One more red and pink combination is going to get him to something like 55, 54 points, which should be enough. But he needs a big bounce on the cue ball. He's not really going to get it. So, I mean, probably one last test there, because, I mean, it isn't going to be one last test. Or is he going to have the pink in the way? Ooh, I mean, if he has to take the shot into the middle, this is going to be dangerous. And is he playing a double there? He is. Yeah, I can't really see this one going well. And he hasn't, so... Well, Wilson making the mess of that slightly. He should have been trying to get this frame over and done with. In the end, he's left Murphy a chance here, because he doesn't need snookers at this stage for now. Therefore, he can still try and come back with that 4-0 advantage. For now, of course, focusing on getting those 4 reds in open play. Getting yourself one more chance. You never know. You may try and do it with a long shot yet again. Maybe it's going to be another one of those Kyren Wilson mistakes from a safety play, which we have seen a couple of before. But of course, with the way Wilson got himself set up in this frame, he can actually try and go for a long shot himself. I think with how far away he was from that pocket, he probably wasn't trying to do it. Just trying to guide the cue ball. Not to be seen the top red there for Murphy. In behind the black nicely. So just force it onto the side cushion, get the cue ball to bounce away from bulk. And get it as close to the green as he can. Want to see Murphy win? Sure you do. But I don't think Wilson wants to. And I just don't really care. I don't want it to be a 5-0 win. Because it just brings that drama effect out of it. Still want to see a decider there. Have seen a couple of close matches, as I say. See how good on John Higgins and Ali Carter against Ronnie. I have seen a decider of Shusi against Mark Selby, but I'll also say that it wasn't really the decider that I want to witness. It was one of those typical Mark Selby being behind and trying to find those snookers, which seems to have taken him an absolute ages. And I think he actually had all of those snookers found, if I'm not mistaken, somehow. He had about 2 or 3 of those. So he was playing for a respot. And I think he had the blue, pink and black all at the table. But in the end, Shusi managed to get the blue. And in the end, make that frame. And therefore the match to end with him being victorious. Despite losing out to Ali Carter yesterday with 5-0 being the score. And yeah, if you get this red into the left corner from Wilson, you still should have the angle on the cue ball to try and force it to the top part of the table. And not sure he's got enough power there on the cue ball for it to finish in behind the yellow. And therefore, we could see another masterstroke there from Murphy's point of view. Is it going to be a shot that he attempts here? Well, I mean, he should do. Even if he leaves the cue ball in a vulnerable position there. And he's gone for it. And he's made it yet again. A brilliant shot there from Murphy. And, well, after all, he could still be the winner. And this is the drama that you want to see. Of course, it's not quite the player that you want to see delivering the drama. If you want the match to go as far as you can. And brilliant shot there from Murphy. Straight into the pocket. The red went. Especially with how much power that shot was being played at. Brilliant there from Murphy. Now, the reason why I say it's a great opportunity here for Murphy is that he had 4 reds in a pretty much struggling position there. He got one of them with a long shot. The other one was, well, had his position improved previously. So the 2 remaining ones are all going to be on the side cushion. But he should be able to try and get the first one into the right corner without needing to touch that red at all. Slightly too close. Well, you can't really say too close to the cushion because he didn't touch the jaw of the pocket. So clearly played that shot perfectly well. Now then, this is a shot where it can go wrong. But Murphy just seems to have played those shots with so much confidence. Although, I mean, he's over on this one slightly. And he needs to be careful. Yeah, he needs a rest shot. Yeah, he made his life slightly awkward there, Murphy. And he needs the total clearance here for him to be the winner. So 24 points is a deficit, as I say. It's the biggest extension that you can ask on the rest here. Just try and guide this red. Well, it's really difficult for him to drop this one in, but he does somehow. Just guiding it past all the jaws and all the cushion. And all of a sudden, he becomes now a massive favourite for this frame. And after that break of 62 points from Wilson's point of view, it looked like it was going to be an impossible mission for Murphy to be going 4-0 up at the interval. Well, now, it's certainly going to be mission real. He's got 16 points in between himself and his opponent. And he's got 27 at the table. So he basically played those 4 reds somehow with only losing one of those maximum points there. So that's been an incredible break there from Shaun Murphy. But also has been an absolutely incredible first midi session there that he's delivered. Gets the green nicely into its own pocket. So you will need the total clearance, as I say. But he's got 4 colours on their spots. He's perfectly on the brown, so he doesn't have anything to worry about. And he's got a 3-0 cushion to go with it as well. Just plays through the brown into the yellow pocket. And yeah, he'll be going 4 points clear with the pink. So he still needs the black there. But as he gets the blue in, once again using that black ball cushion to have the bounce on the cue ball, which, I mean, he hasn't played too well. Slightly under on there. Should be able to add left spin though on the cue ball to bounce it off 2 cushions and in for the black. Played the shot really well, to be fair. I thought he was going to leave himself slightly far away there from the black, but now this black for the 58 points of a break, and Shaun Murphy is dominating Kyren Wilson here. And in the end, it is going to be a 4-0 lead for him to be taking into the intermission. And as we come back in 15 minutes time, let's see if it's going to be one more frame and Murphy is going to be through to the 4th semi-final of the season. Meanwhile, Ali Carter and Stuart Bingham only finished 3rd frame there, and he now leads by 2 frames to 1. We'll see you in around 15 minutes time. Murphy is on fire.
Must never stop the way, yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a roll. Savannah, is gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty Savannah. Let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming sees my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
Hello everybody, and we are back onto the main action as both Wilson and Murphy make their way back onto the arena. Let's see if it's still going to be that way after the end of frame number 5, because Murphy is still going to be a massive favourite here. After he takes the break-off shot, once again it is Kyren that is trying to force a mistake from his opponent, which just doesn't seem to come there. So lands the cue ball onto the black ball cushion. So it has been pretty much the story of the opening mini session, as we still wait to see and who's going to be the winner. And total points scored there, 95 from Wilson and 378 for Shaun Murphy. So just having a look if it is going to be another long shot there that we witnessed from Murphy's point of view. He's got one available into the yellow pocket, but decides against it and just gives the turn back to Wilson. And yeah, he's going to have the ability to try and get that red away from the left side cushion. So just taking a look at that one. Not sure if he's going to try and, well, maybe take it as a long shot there. I think that's what he's... Not sure if that's what he's trying to do here. Just have a little waiting game. And, whoa, he has gone for a long shot, and he certainly made his stick. Brilliant shot there from Wilson. And, well, it's never too late for you to try and produce a comeback. But is this going to be the point where that's the case? And, meanwhile, yeah, as I say, I can't believe what I'm just watching. I had, basically, in the interval, just went on to check the score of the semi-final of the Australian Open, and somehow I couldn't believe it at that point when I'd seen it, but he's just finished. And, well, someone like Novak Djokovic actually managed to beat Jannik Sinner in 5-setter. 5-over match, incredible there. So he's through to the final. That's going to be very interesting to watch there. So we can certainly now focus on Wilson and his performance against Murphy. As, you know, he had all of these chances there. He had a break of 62 points in the previous encounter, but that still didn't really help him for him to try and close that gap down. As he now leads by 16 points here. He's going to have the ability to try and win a couple of frames on the bounce himself. For now, he tries to stay on the black, which I don't know if that's the right option there for him, because he was always going to put a distance in between the cue ball and the black. So let's see if he's going to be able to get it. He does. And the cue ball just makes his way to the top part of the table. He should be able to take the red on the side cushion away. And it's a tough one. Shaun and Kyren are both good players. They are, but, you know, the thing about them is that when you look at the head-to-head, it is going to be massively in favour of Shaun Murphy. I think he won 5 of their last matches. And remember which type of matches they were. China Grand Prix, 5-0 win. The last meeting between the two of them, and the only point that Kyren was able to score was the last shot of the match from Murphy, where he gave him 6 points away there as a foul, or I think he put in the pink or something. And it is now going to be Wilson's opportunity to try and get a frame from Murphy. Well, I mean, Kyren doesn't seem like he's unhappy. Seems like he's unhappy, I should say, but I think he's had a brilliant shot there that he's played. And somehow gets himself on the pink here. So 33 points now as his advantage. So let's see if he's going to be able to take the pink into the middle and continue the break. And he's able to do so. So once again, it doesn't seem like anything is going to be in the way of him trying to get this frame away from Murphy. Maybe just himself at times. But when you've got a 4-0 deficit hanging up on you, you may as well try and go for it. And, of course, he was massively impacted by the brilliance of the long shot that he's played. And in the end, he wasn't able to make the most out of it in the 4th frame. As I say, that time it was 62 points. Played 16 there. So let's have this one sorted. I don't know why that's gone wrong. Should be back to normal now. Yeah, as he rolls another red into the left corner. And I still think he's very much in a good position for this frame here, Kyren. As he's got 48 points advantage. Still has 91 points. up the top part here as well. And one thing that I was about to look for, but obviously realised that he's playing the pink, is that for now, he's going for a 1-4-6, which is considered to be one of the rarest breaks ever in the snooker being made. It was previously made by Zhao at the Northern Ireland Open. Sorry, not at the Northern Ireland, at the Scottish Open, in his match where he lost out against Joe O'Connor. But that's not going to be the case, as Wilson straight away clearly feels like there's not going to be any point of trying to play for that break, because there's a point. It's one of the rarest breaks that a snooker player can make. And the break of 56 points there that he's got himself on. So, yeah, he's played for the blue, underrun for it slightly, so maybe using the brown instead, but just forcing himself into a bit of a danger shot now. Takes the brown well, though, and gets the cue ball to cannon to the lower part of the table super nicely. And he should be lined up perfectly. And the red to be taken into the left middle. And it's all about just trying to stay in this match for as long as you can, playing less of shots like that, where he nearly missed an easiest red of the match into the left middle, but in the end just hammers it home. And after a bit of a wobble for a split second, it still drops in. And takes the blue onto the right middle right now in the meantime. 66 points, so his highest break of the match. Still underplayed slightly for this red, which is going to be putting him 67 points clear. With the same number being still up for grabs, with all the reds being at the table. So the black, for it to be the first frame in at least 10 of those previous meetings in that in Shaun Murphy against Kyren Wilson matches, that Wilson finally manages to win, because as I say, the third from last was the Masters meeting. Of course, Shaun Murphy managed to win. And in the end, it was China Grand Prix. And, sorry, the China Grand Prix and the meeting here at the German Masters. So, you know, with him actually losing that match 5-0, he's now trying to at least get himself in the rhythm of winning a couple of those frames here, because he still needs to win 5 on the bounce for him to be a real contender for the semi-final spot. And in the meantime, it's still going to be comfortable for Shaun Murphy, but he just needs to make sure he doesn't allow Wilson to try and settle into this match too easy. And he should be able to score enough points here, although Kyren is getting another red into the right corner, and he seems to be trying to find a real rhythm here, because he's taking those shots with barely a gap of 5 seconds in between them. He's now on the break of 96 points, as you can see. Takes another red nicely into the right corner, so on the black into the right corner as well, for it to be a century break and the highest break of the match. So straight away, when Wilson is in and is higher than a break of 62, he's able to take it into a century break, and it has been a really impressive break there from Wilson, because remember, he came back to the table with pretty much having nothing there in terms of all the guarantees that he had. And now he's able to lift off with a break of 105 points and counting. Gets the black in as well. And he could still go on to make a break of 139 points, I think. It's probably gone slightly more awkward there, with brown going closer to the green. So let's see as he gets the yellow onto the corner pocket. He should take the 4th frame to make it interesting. 2-3. Well, you mean the... he should have taken... Well, that would have been the 5th frame, but he should have. But at least he's able to get himself a frame on the board. That will still mean like a bit of relief. And as he now plays for the blue, a 139 of a clearance will certainly help on his way to potentially making that comeback of, well, certainly of the season, for it to be in the quarterfinal for a semi-final spot against someone as consistent as Shaun Murphy, as he's just toying around with the shot that he's playing. But it certainly is a brilliant break there from Kyren Wilson, as he now finishes off with a break of 139 points. And it is now Kyren Wilson 1, Shaun Murphy 4. And this is Watchalong. Well, you should tell me what it is then, because as far as I'm aware, That is the exact terminology. Now then, let's have a look at how Ali Carter and Stuart Bingham are doing on the other table. So Ali Carter is winning by 3 frames to 1 there. Bingham managed to have that break of 65 points in the second meeting, and then Carter responded with a brilliant break of 137 points. So certainly responding to that pace of Kyren Wilson. But of course, it's still a very different story there. Ali Carter leads by 3 frames to 1, and Wilson finds himself trailing and being 4-1 down. Let's see if he's going to be able to try and get a couple of more frame wins before we can say that he's truly back into being a real threat here for taking this match away from Murphy. But I think it probably has to be, well, certainly not earlier till frame number 8, until that's going to be the case, for it to be 4 frames each. And, well, a decider for basically a 50-50 battle. Up until that point, I think you're always going to have Shaun Murphy as a massive favourite for him to be trying to take this win away there. So for now, well, I mean, as I say, it has been super interesting to watch as Ali Carter now and Stuart Bingham make their way back onto the arena. So still, I think it is going to be a great thing for the game there to see either one of Ali Carter or Stuart Bingham to be in the semi-final. I think it's going to be for the first time of this season of the ranking event. And not watching snooker, yeah, that's exactly the thing of it, because I wouldn't say watch along if it was the actual live footage. You would say live match on it, but you're not going to find that on YouTube unless it's going to be for 30 seconds and then you'll get cancelled. So it's about as far as it goes. It's a good break-off though by Bingham, and Carter straight away is being put in behind the brown. He should put the shot onto the blackboard cushion there. I thought he was going to try and play into the main pack, and has played a really nice shot there, giving the turn back to Bingham. Now then, as the turn has been given to Shaun Murphy, he had a bit of a, well, very quick break there of an intermission, but also he had it extended with Kyren Wilson dominating the show for that 5th frame and getting himself to still be standing in this quarterfinal, as he's now able to try and go for another long shot. And this is going to be the thing about Kyren. He probably is going to be at the position where he has to go for those long reds, and he has to make sure he makes every one of them as he has right now. Remember, snooker is a game like no other, and sometimes whether you are 8-0, 4-0 down, you still may have a chance to try and come back your way onto the semi-final. Now, it is Kyren Wilson once again on the charge, and it's a brilliant long shot that he takes. We have seen a couple of those, to say the least. The problem that Wilson has got ahead of himself is that he probably is not going to be rewarded to the full extent in terms of all the reds that he's got available to him. Although it is now going to be 150 points, score without answer, which is going to be pretty much double the points tally that he scored in the previous 4 frames prior to that 139 of a break. And yeah, he's got 3 reds available. He's taken 2 of them away. He's going to have the 3rd one, which is in open play, and then he's going to have a bit of a difficulty in trying to get, well, he's got a cluster of 2 reds, and then the main one consisting of 10 reds at that point. Yeah, he's tried to make it into the big one there, and I can't say he's played the shot badly because he's still in the black, despite him putting a bit of distance there in between the cue ball and the black itself. He's pushed one of those reds closer to the right middle, but may just be about too close there for the side cushion. So I think he should have an angle to try and make his way around those reds, as he has. Lovely shot there, once again nicely played by Wilson. Slightly too much power, but he should certainly be able to recover from that minor misjudgment. Try and drop the cue ball as he'd been closer to, well, say minor misjudgment. He has turned this red into a bit of a difficult one, but he's taken it really well. The thing about Wilson is that, you know, 1 frame sometimes is all he can take for you to be making that Fantastic comeback. And, well, for now, of course, you have to say, after 139, he's still on the red and the black combinations. So this certainly should be a thing for you to be aware of right now, especially with the way the Reds have going to be positioned right now, with certainly not all of them in perfect place, but far from them being in awkward spots all over the table there. All of them quite far away from the side cushions. Some of them still part of the main pack, but he's now about to close off the fifth red and black combination. He only just about got the black in, to be fair. So maybe just trying to force the angle too much on the cue ball. And yeah, just looking to see if he's going to have the angle to try and get that red into the right corner. And then, yeah, probably the answer is no. So we're just going to take the one into the left corner. So one of the two reds actually closer to the side cushions. But in the meantime, he was the one that was always going to give him a perfect opportunity to try and get perfectly on the black. So now approaching 200 points without answer. Listen, if Murphy's been able to do it to Wilson, where you basically keep him quiet for 5 frames, no matter how well Murphy is playing out there, if Wilson is going to be able to get those chances frame by frame, he should be able to try and do something about it. Hey, Apex. Hey, everyone. Yes, Letitia is back. You should certainly be enjoying the way that this tournament has gone there, because Trump is dominating. Ooh, and the domination of Wilson, unfortunately, is about to end, because despite him going so well, getting 6 reds and 6 blacks, super unlucky with the way that the cue ball has gone right into the right corner pocket. And, well, he's very unlucky with that one, because there's nothing you can do about it. He was trying to spread those reds out, and in the end, just too much of the power on it. And yeah, Shaun Murphy should have a red at the top part of the table. And well, if there ever was a very cruel ending to this match, we're certainly going to see one now. If Murphy is able to put 15 shots into the pockets there, and he's certainly not going to need another invitation from what we've seen in the opening frames. And you can see there with that shot, he's going to be trying to take this one as carefully as he can, because he had a perfect chance to try and get the cue ball onto the reds, but there was no specific reason why he would do that, because you can try and take those reds out one by one. So he was just able to put more backspin on the cue ball, try and guide it to the left part of the table instead. And now he's going to be lined up for the ping to be taken onto the left corner too. And regret he choked the 4th frame. Well, it was the 5th frame, but yeah, unfortunately that was... oh, yeah, the 4th frame, sorry, yeah, the 4th frame. The 4th frame, yeah. And it would have been a different story, but I still feel like 2-3 down, and even 1-3 down at that stage, I think Murphy probably would have had a different mentality coming back from the first mini session. So it's well, once again, like one sports legend once said, if doesn't exist. So, you know, you have to just go with what you got right now. And that's exactly what Murphy has done. You know, he had a couple of misfortunes there for his opponent, but he doesn't have to care about it. You know, the snooker gods will surely level things out there. And maybe Shaun Murphy will have a bit of bad luck in the semi-final, should he reach it, and get himself 5 of those reds into the corner pockets. Maybe one more into the middle if he wants to try and get in behind it. We'll have to wait and see about that. But for now, it's a perfect opportunity that he's got to try and close this match away from Wilson. That, once again, apart from that 4th frame that you mentioned there, for Kyren, yeah, I mean, that was really unlucky there. There's nothing wrong that he's done there, because he was clearly playing it to have the cue ball bounce away from their blackboard cushion. It wasn't even for the jaws. So he just got really unlucky there, because the pace sort of kicked in midway through the contact. So the cue ball hits those reds, and then the topspin kicks in, and he changes the trajectory of the cue ball massively. Although Murphy hasn't played a good shot himself either. And, well, sometimes it could be quite awkward for you to try and get over the line. Let's see if he's able to get this red in. Well, if it's awkward, it's not going to be awkward for Shaun Murphy. Another beautiful long shot that we're about to witness. And he comes from the magician himself. And let me tell you how difficult that is to try and play when you're leaving that red at the open play of the table. You know, he wasn't playing for the red, obviously, because he was trying to get position on the pink, but he still had to play that with very little power, which makes the table and his face sometimes do the nasty job on you. He trusted the table, he trusted the equipment, and he's played the shot absolutely perfectly. And fast forward the time, he got 2 of those reds away from the pink and away from each other too. He's now 9 points away from Kyren Wilson, and he's got 2 straightforward, not going to say easy, but straightforward reds ahead of himself. And still on the 6th frame. Hard, well, I mean, yeah, but I'm not going to say that this one is going to be the most impressive thing of Murphy. He's been really good, and I have to say, like, I'm not trying to downplay him anyway, but he was really unlucky from Kyren's point of view, especially on a comeback of a 139 in the previous frame. And in the end, he's just playing super well here as well. But Murphy's been absolutely fantastic, and him and Judd are by far the favourites for me to be taking these German Masters. You have to give a shout out to Robertson, because he's been playing some good stuff as well. But I just think that I wanted to see, not going to lie about it, I want to see Wilson against Trump in the final, but right now I'm going to be rooting for Murphy against Trump in the final. Something that I don't think we've seen this season. And right now, as Murphy just rolls the last red into the middle, so he's attempting to go for the yellow onto the other part of the table, which is not something that you see very often there. So for the green pocket, and well, he's got 6 colours on the spots, slightly awkward on the yellow though. He needs to be careful with it. Try and guide it into the corner pocket, and he hasn't. So don't count your chickens just yet. Has he managed to get away with this one though? Is he going to have the green of the way of the yellow? I did say it would have been very cruel on Kyren. Probably about as unfair as it's going to get. But Murphy just not doing enough on his point of view. And for all the straightforward clearance it looked like, I mean, can Wilson get through to this to this yellow? Surely no is the answer, because if he could have, he would have been able to play the shot straight away. And yeah, you can see it's impossible to swerve around it. You can't see any piece of the yellow. But still is, at least he's still in this matchup. And it's quite a late and quite an awkward shot there from Murphy. And he almost has gone from a brilliant shot there to a bit of the ordinary one from Wilson. And, well, I mean, it's very sad if you wish on someone to lose the match. It's always very sad to be watching a match like that. Well, I mean, I say that. I've got a couple of players that don't wish on winning in tennis either, but it goes for different reasons. But I don't have anyone in snooker that I wish like they wouldn't win. I just think when you've got 128 players on the tour, it is very much a negative mentality there. But Wilson is not out. Whatever you say, he's still very much in charge of this frame in terms of being anyone's for the taking. And he needs the yellow to be closer to the side cushion though, and he's just about done enough there on the yellow's point of view, and he's played an absolute wonder of a shot on the green in terms of getting that cue ball in behind of it perfectly. And I want to try and stay in this match. This is certainly going to be the shot to try and shut down the haters. So, I mean, the problem that Murphy has got at this shot right now is that he's going to have to try and swerve around it. But, I mean, that's what he wants to do, because ideally what you want to do is swerve around the green, make the angle as tight as possible, bounce the cue ball away from the black ball cushion, hit it on the side. But that's a lot of things that you need to be sort of perfect at for it to work, because you want to try and send that yellow pretty much across the table and into the middle part of the ball cushion. But this is nasty there. He is going to swerve around it. There's no mistake about it, but, well, I don't think he's going to have the power, and also he's going to be in their pocket, so it's a perfect shot for him to be dropping the cue ball in. But I don't think that's going to be the way for him to try and win this frame here. So I think there was not going to be any free ball shout there at all, because of course it would have been the ball in hand. And Wilson would have had the ability to try and see this yellow in the perfect shape at that point. So Murphy just asking the referee to ensure that the cue ball is respotted perfectly. It's going to be slight delay in the game, but it's all going to be worth it if we're going to find out the name of the winner here as well. And it was a good effort there from Murphy, but I feel like he still needs to try and ensure he's going to be hitting the shot from behind of the yellow, because, I mean, even if he gets the little kiss on the yellow, he still might be able to drop the cue ball in, and depends on the sort of severity of that kiss. He may be bringing the yellow into the open play there, so I think he needs to try and swerve around the green, but do it to the extent that he hits the black ball cushion, and then has the cue ball to bounce away onto the yellow. But probably won't change it just yet. And, or maybe he has changed it. So yeah, that was always going to be the easiest way for him to go for, but he's missed it by an absolute fraction. About as close as you're ever going to get there. And, well, Murphy is going to have to try and settle. He's got a lot of those chances, though, to be fair. He's got 8 points. Well, now 4 points advantage. And doesn't really mean anything if you're going to be 24 points down or something. So, yeah, because of all 6 colours, apart from the yellow right now being on their spots or in playable position as it stands. So just looking to see, it's a minor contact there for the cue ball to be pushed slightly closer to the ball cushion. And there we go. Murphy doesn't mind it at all. Wilson clearly is not going to get in the way of it either. Attempt number 3. Try and swerve around it once again. A lot closer to the yellow. Just needs to have the power. And he will this time. So he is going to hit the yellow. So playing the shot really nicely there, to be fair. And it was always going to be worth sacrificing those 8 points for him to get the perfect outcome. Wilson is going to have a look to see just how minor of a contact he can try and force on this yellow to guide the cue ball to the top part of the table here. And then put all the distance in between the white and the yellow here. Plays the shot quite nicely there, getting the cue ball onto the top part of the D line. So just, I mean, I say cross double, but with the way that the yellow is so close to the side cushion, it may not actually be the worst case scenario for him to try and play this one full in the face and just push it onto the left side cushion instead. Of course, another thing is Murphy could try and go for this yellow technically because of it being perfectly on the cushion, and that's what he's looking at. I mean, I know he's got 4-1 advantage, but he's not going to have a straightforward path for the cue ball to be landed on the green. Still be some short though for him to be announcing himself to the semi-finals. Now, I thought he was going to go for it, I have to say, last second, and I feel like he's going to be thinking that he should have gone for it because he hasn't played a good safety at all. And this time around, Kyren can try and play this yellow with very little pace in the end. Just try and guide it into the yellow pocket. Bounce the cue ball away from the bulk and get himself lined up for the green, but I mean, I expected Wilson to pot this one, but he didn't. Pushes the brown out of position, though. And let's see if he's going to leave enough of this yellow to be visible there for Murphy. I think he has, because there was no hand of apology. And now I think he hasn't, because this yellow is not going to be visible there to Murphy to try and play into the pocket. But as I said, I don't think it would have been a massive thing, as the cue ball just seems to be going to the green pocket. Don't know whether it was a bit of fade there, but we're going to have 60 points each, with a lot of foul shots being conceded at this stage. Now with us still having 27 points here up for grabs. This is the perfect scoreline. If you do the maths correctly, 60 plus 60 is 120. You add 27 more points, and it is going to be 147. The number of points if one of the players is to make a total clearance, barring that no more foul shots are going to be conceded here as well. So now we've got Murphy to come back to the table. Once again, trying to find his way to get himself onto this yellow. And, yeah, not sure that's going to be the way forward there for Murphy. Trying to go for this yellow right now probably wouldn't make sense for either one of the players. So you have to try and battle it out with a long safety instead. Because of the position of the brown, as I say. The pink, black, blue and green are in great positions for them. But it's going to be really difficult to get on the brown from the green. Ooh, I mean, it was a double kiss there, whether it was played on purpose from Wilson, because we've seen it before. And he clearly was trying to put a bit of distance there, leaving the cube on the ball cushion. And the yellow is going to be close enough to the pocket for Murphy to try and attempt this one in. See if he's going to be able to make it stick, though. He's not. Now, where's the yellow going to finish? He just about misses the cue ball. And also just about misses the brown too. Because that would have been a chance for Wilson to try and go for this yellow, which he still will. But having the brown in open play would have made this shot with a lot more to lose there from Kyren's perspective. Is he now able to go for this yellow? Or is he not? Is he going to try and make it stick? No, he won't. And as I say, I don't think there is going to be any point from Kyren's point of view, because he's 4-1 down, he's chasing, he needs to make sure every shot that he plays is going to be perfect. And also, you know, for me saying that he's been slightly too cautious previously, I think at this stage you have to say that Murphy has lost his touch there slightly on the, what is it called, the long shots, and he certainly lost his touch on the safeties, because just one safety shot that Wilson has played, and all of a sudden, it's a massive misjudgment from Murphy, and he's left this yellow basically over the pocket. Now, let's see, he still needs that brown and the blue transition. It's going to be a very interesting couple of shots coming up. First, the yellow into the right middle, for him to be back in the hunt, and he is going to be back in the hunt. So Kyren Wilson just getting that yellow into the middle. Now then, as he takes the green onto the pocket, is he going to be able to try and take all the pace away from it and just slide the cue ball across the table onto the brown, just catches this jaw, which he didn't want to do. And once again, it is going to be a battle here for the brown. And yeah, as you can see, it's just not done enough there in terms of the way that he had the cue ball to bounce away. So now has got 5 points of an advantage. And it is going to be all about just trying to ensure that he gets all of those points in the bag there for him. Is he going to try and go for a cross double? No, he won't. Probably because of the blue being in the way. Has he played a good enough shot to get that brown as close as is possible onto the black ball cushion? He's had a good effort, but probably not quite perfect there for him. Back to Shaun Murphy goes. Once again, still keeping that charge for a 147 being the total points count. And Murphy is able to play a really nice shot there, getting the cue ball to basically stop as soon as he hit the brown onto the black ball cushion. And the trajectory that he set the brown with onto the top part of the table could not have been played any better either. So back to Kyren trying to do something with it. Getting that brown down the table. Doesn't want the pink to be compromised though, because that will leave brown in the possible position, and he does. Once again, is this a quarter-final match? Yes, it is. So it's for a place in the last 4. You can see Murphy in the poll, 65%. That was always going to happen with him leading 4-0. Wilson was able to find one of those frames back with a fantastic break of 139. And now he needs to try and do it again, but for now it's Murphy at the table, and he's got a chance to go for this round. And he'll go for it, and he'll make it brilliantly there. So is he going to be on the blue right now? I think he will be. And this could be the shot that gets that hopes of Kyren Wilson defending the German Masters title very much to an end. So he needs the blue and the pink combination, and Murphy is going to be through to the last 4. And what a shot that he's played. Once again, beautiful guidance there. Past the blue and past the pink. And Kyren is honouring his nickname. Unfortunately, not anymore. is now going to be Shaun Murphy's nickname for the Magician, because once again, it's another trick that he found, and warm congratulations there from Wilson's point of view, but it is Shaun Murphy that marches on to the semi-finals. He's done it before at the British Open. He was there at the China Grand Prix, and every single time he's done it, he's gone on to reach the final. You'll have Jimmy Robertson or Neil Robertson to try and say something about it, but for now, it is Shaun Murphy 5, Kyren Wilson 1, and it's the Magician and the world number 7 that gets himself through to the last 4. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in, and we'll be back for the evening session. Watchalong against Algodon for the lower part of the draw. Which one of the two players is going to make his way onto the semi-final spot as well. For now, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you around for more stuff at the German Masters. Stay tuned in. Thank you.
When you want to get off the darkest